I was 12 years old when I was taken by my father and stepmother to Afghanistan in January 2005. It was supposed to be a vacation, but I was sold there for $10,000. My passport was confiscated and taken to the Netherlands. The marriage was hell. I was humiliated every day, beaten, subjected to sexual violence, because that is what I
Thank you very much for being here this morning. It's a great honor to welcome you all to this important roundtable on marital captivity, a great violation of fundamental rights that must have no place in our European societies.
Good morning, everyone. Assita, thank you very much for the invitation to be here with you today. Marital captivity is an extremely serious violation of fundamental rights, especially the right of women and girls to physical integrity, freedom, and bodily autonomy. It's also a form of violence against women and girls with severe social and economic implications. And let me be clear, the Commission is fully committed to eradicating these horrible practices.
Thank you, Assita Kanko, for organizing this important discussion and for her commitment to fighting marital captivity. I am really happy that supporting Assita in her cause is going to become for me some sort of part-time job at the Parliament. But I'm glad to do so. Marital captivity and forced marriage are great violations of fundamental rights. They deny women their freedom, autonomy, and dignity, trapping them in cycles of abuse with no legal recourse. This is not just a problem outside Europe. It happens within our borders, particularly in some communities.
Women who are victims of marital captivity, they don't have enough protection. For example, the story of Nadia. She was 12 years old when she was taken to Afghanistan 18 years ago, and she was sold for $10,000 by her parents who live in the Netherlands. She vanished from Dutch soil and nobody asked where she was. Nobody.
Dutch children do not want to get married at 12. I also did not want to get married at 12. For 18 years, I lived in captivity in Kandahar. I am still sad and angry. Why did no one ask about me?
Well, before you stands a cheerful woman, but behind my smile hides a lot of pain. I was 18 when I got married. My parents told me that we are going on a holiday to Pakistan, and I was forced into marriage with a cousin. I did not want to get married yet. I wanted to return to the Netherlands, where I had a job at the Ministry of the Interior Affairs, working in financial department. Instead, I was locked up for 6 months, beaten, raped every day. At some point,
Your voices are powerful, are more powerful even than you might think, and your experiences must drive our actions. To my fellow policymakers, let us work together to build a Europe where no woman is trapped in a marriage against her will.
You are survivors. You never accepted to be victims. You stood up for yourself. And by doing so, you stand up for other women as well, and for our justice system.
This is a completely unacceptable practice, and we all have to stand in unison in expressing that this is against or fundamental rights. It's against the values of the European Union, and it will not be tolerated in a union where freedom, where rule of law, where fundamental rights, where respect for human rights is the very foundation of the European Union.
It is about human rights, which are women's rights, it's about children's rights, it's about dignity and nothing else. If you take these matters seriously, then you give practical meaning to words like inclusion and diversity. I thank you very much.
Marital captivity is a harsh reality for too many women in Europe. Women who, despite living in democratic countries that uphold gender equality and human rights, find themselves trapped in unwanted and abusive religious marriages and can never leave. It is a human rights violation, deeply connected to the rise of parallel societies and parallel justice systems that undermine the very foundation of our democracies and the rule of law. Women suffering under marital captivity are too often caught between these two legal walls, one that recognizes their rights and one that denies them. No woman should have to fight for a just legal system. We need to have the same for all of us.
Well, thank you, Assita, and thank you so much for your contributions. You couldn't but be moved by your stories, by your courage and leadership, and by what you have had to endure. And I'm so sorry that you had to endure that, and that the European Union failed you, in essence. And we have to make sure we don't fail any young girls or women in the future.
The first time we met, you indeed made the promise that one day when I will come in office, I will fix this injustice for you and for all the other girls in Europe who suffer from forced marriages and marital captivity. 13 years. I met so many members of parliament, but you are the only one who kept your promise. Each time when I receive her mail, I get emotional that this lady kept her promise. You are our biggest hope here in Europe and biggest inspiration. Thank you so much for all what you have arranged for so many girls. Thank you.